In the payments industry, there is this old saying that a payment is a payment is a payment. What does this mean? While payments might seem complex, and there are all sorts of different payment methods from cards to cross-border, high-value crypto or central bank digital currencies, at the most fundamental level, a payment is just a way to exchange money. There is someone who wants to pay and someone who wants to get paid. If we look at consumers, they don't really care as much about the distinction. And I would say the lines are blurring even further. So thinking about an online checkout flow, for example, whether paying by card or an open banking, pay by bank kind of method, it's really starting to look similar. Really what an optimal payment system would do is not only cater to all the existing payment methods that can be used today, but also be flexible enough to adapt for future needs and banks' requirements as well.
And a key part of that adaptability is being able to control your own payments. One of the things around this is avoiding vendor lock-in. Being able to define your own payment flows, being able to define your own rules, being able to define your own parameters, rather than being locked into what a vendor's vision of these rules and parameters would be, gives you a lot more control and gives you a lot more flexibility in terms of serving your target market.
What we really want to make sure is that the design and architecture are holistic and looking after all sorts of possible payment methods and not overfit to specific requirements of a scheme. By designing around narrow specific requirements of a scheme or a regulation, by hard coding that logic into the platform, that's what makes it really expensive and difficult to change. So instead, we want to think about the fundamentals of payment processing, abstract them away, think about what is common across all the types of payment methods and build the engine around that to be agnostic of schemes, and isolate all the scheme or regulation specific logic to a module that's easy to evolve or replace. At Thought Machine, we've had the luxury to work with some of the world's most successful banks and observe and understand their pain points around payments.
So when we looked at all the disparate payment systems across the world, what we started to see is there are similarities between each of them, regardless of the geography that it's operating in. And when you take completely different payment methods, so cards and direct debits, for example, you start seeing the similarity in that pull-based method, which is you have a lot of account validation, you have a lot of authentication in terms of mandates or in terms of cryptography. You have a lot of the same sort of account selection rules. So when you view it from that lens, what you start seeing is different payment systems are made up of very similar building blocks, and they fall into very similar scheme families, which is what we call it here at Thought Machine. And what you have to do to build that optimal payment system is really delineate between what are our platform features and what is configuration. So a specific example of this is file-based operations. So whether you're connecting to BACS, SEPA, or Fed ACH, for example, the ability to ingest a file, parse it, and make it available to the payment system follows the same set of operations regardless. However, what type of file, what type of messages, what's contained in the messages, all of that is configuration that is defined by the scheme. So building off of a platform that has a high level of configurability allows you to really hone in on your customer segment. It allows you to set up very bespoke rules and very bespoke or very, very customized rules that really target what your customers want and need.
Effectively, what we've done is we have managed to escape this vertical trap of designing a system rail by rail and then sellotaping it together. And instead, we have effectively assembled a selection of horizontal building blocks that can be combined together to allow you to express payment logic for any payment scheme that exists today or into the future. So the payment engine itself is scheme agnostic. It knows a lot about the payments domain and its requirements, but it doesn't hard code any regulation specific or scheme specific logic. That is abstracted away as configuration that is easy to change, evolve, and replace. Similarly, any aspects of scheme messaging or connectivity sit in the layer on top of that, in the gateway connectivity layer. And that way of modularizing them makes them easy to replace, add, and remove as well. Effectively, all the aspects of the design are universal. So putting it all together, what we get is a single pane of glass view of all the payment types and methods within a single system, or this 360 view that allows using all of the customer data in more effective ways, and also coming up with some innovative use cases for the bank.
Yeah, so picking up on that 360-degree view, one of the things that customers are fed up with is walking around with 10 or 15 different cards in their wallet. The thing that they really want is just to tap one card that knows where to route to, what account to pull from, that knows exactly what they want to do with their payment. It allows them to set up their rules in advance so that they are in control of their payments. Additionally, another thing that we see is banks internally struggle to upsell new products to their consumers. When you look at competitors like Klarna or Affirm, they've been able to efficiently capture market share in the buy now, pay later space, whereas traditional banks are still struggling to get this live. So one of the things that we can do is have one single piece of plastic where you can automatically set up a new buy now, pay later when it exceeds your balance.
So the payments industry is continuing to evolve rapidly. Authorized push payment fraud is a threat. New payment schemes are coming online. There's pressure from competition. Just chasing that on a project by project basis can be incredibly costly. So what we discuss with our clients and partners is instead taking a long-term view, a product thinking type approach that will allow you to put in place payment infrastructure that is more future-proof and more able to scale, lowering that cost of change. So it is this product thinking that is required and not just project thinking.